Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? Come on and sit on down because today we're talking about game consoles. When big video game companies announce their brand new gaming consoles, it's always big news. It becomes the talk of the internet, talk of the town, and often that leads to greater and greater anticipation for the official launch. You guys remember the Wii? Now they don't even show it on the news anymore. It used to be a big thing where people were like, they're waiting in line to get a what? A PS2? What? What is that? Now they're just like, yeah, of course. You know, it's so normal now. While many gaming consoles have lived up to that hype, there are far too many stories of products that release to an absolute disastrous response. So with that said, let's talk about some of the biggest console launching failures in gaming history. Buckle up, gamers. We're talking about failed consoles. And of course, we can't discuss console launches without first talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, which is one of the reasons why we even wanted to do this video as like a fun way to look, but to just take a trip down memory lane. To take a trip down memory lane, because right now the Nintendo 2 Switch, I feel like, what do you think the response is? I feel like it's been kind of negative.
Well,
here's the thing. People are stoked on it. I think people are just like, there's no difference and you're just charging more for a bigger screen. Is that kind of and also the games are more expensive too, right?
I've seen a lot more negative than positive, but that it's the internet. It's a bubble.
It's the internet to where I wonder if they just land the launch, if it'll be okay. Because I don't know if people remember when the Nintendo Switch released, it was like, there was a bunch of people saying that like it was bugged out, or also people were getting their screens scratched by the console going into its slot and all that stuff. There was like a lot of weird stuff, so it was hyped. But I feel like when people were actually getting it in their hands, they're like, yeah, my game is like bricked. Which I feel like there's obviously, no matter what, there's going to be defective first models, but still. But while the Switch 2 hasn't released just yet, it's already been plagued with controversy. Starting with the big live stream presentation Nintendo hosted to show off its brand new product. Which, you know, the good of the product is the console itself boasted a lot of big upgrades like bigger, vivid 1080p screen, upgraded Joy-Con controllers, and increased storage. Just general, like, stuff that it should have just happened already, you know? Stuff that the Steam Deck has been doing, I guess, for like 5 years now or whatever. Nintendo's like, all right, fine. Okay, we'll do it. You want a bigger screen? Fine. People were incredibly excited over the games that were showcased, which included games like Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I will say, that game looks sick. It does, it looks awesome. Mario Kart World, and a brand new Kirby Air Riders. Kirby! Watch out, Nick, I'm gonna suck you. And of course, From Software has an exclusive game coming out called The Dustbloods, which is just, I mean, it's Bloodborne 2. That actually looks sick too. Be a little vampire and fly around. You get to fly and drop down and suck people's blood, suck them off. You just suck them off. I like how From Software, they're like, you get to suck them off?
Just like Kirby.
Just like Kirby. Today's video is sponsored by Magic Spoon, reinventing your childhood one bite at a time. Magic Spoon is a perfect fit for a variety of diets because it is high in protein and has no sugar. Magic Spoon also has flavors you loved growing up, like fruity, cocoa, and peanut butter. And all these tasty flavors are loaded with 13 to 14 grams of protein and are completely gluten-free. And don't forget, Magic Spoon also has treats. These protein bars are crispy, crunchy, and completely guilt-free. They are the perfect snack to have in the morning after a nice workout. And featuring flavors of marshmallow, chocolatey peanut butter, and double chocolate, and even blueberry muffin. Each bar has 12 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar and 2 grams of carbs. Plus, Magic Spoon also added granola to the mix. Try honey, almond, or peanut butter for breakfast and get 13 grams of protein. Why don't you treat yourself? Use code PAPAMEAT or click the link in the description to try Magic Spoon treats or granola today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in the product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description or go to magicspoon.com/papameat or scan the QR code on screen for $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this video, and back to the video. That's all the pros, okay? Now we get to this is the bad. This is what people say is the bad side. What started to cause a stir was the price tag for the console, which was raised to $450, which cost $150 more than the original Switch on its launch, right? Bigger screen, more storage. You're like, yeah, so it's like, also, I feel like this is so minuscule in terms of the production. They're like, yeah, but we're gonna need the box that it ships in is gonna be bigger, so.
Well, the funny thing is that that technology gets cheaper as time goes on.
Well, hold. I like look over like David Nintendo standing behind me. And just for a comparison with these, figures, a Steam Deck costs $50 less and has better hardware specs than the Switch 2. So
but you can't play Donkey Kong Bonanza. Or you probably can because it's a computer and you can just hack it and do whatever you want.
Oh, I was gonna say that you'd have to get a ROM, but
get a
Nintendo
ROM.
doesn't release stuff for PC.
Doesn't really stuff for PC. Listen, I'm just saying the gamers find a way. And if you have a Steam Deck, it's having like, I don't know, like a portal gun or some shit, you know? You can do whatever you want. And to add insult to injury, the Japanese version of the Switch will only be $350. Racially charged, dude. Racially charged consumerism. Listen, man, Konichiwa, throw me the discount, brother. You know what I'm saying? Their games also saw a significant raise in price as well, with some going up to $90 for physical copies. It comes on an SD card.
That's another thing. A lot of them are download only, and then some are SD cards that only unlock a code.
Yeah, which I hate. Like, let me have a physical copy of something. Nintendo, they're positioning themselves with like cringe streamers that are like, if we just don't want a game on something, we can just delete it and then no one gets to play it ever again. There's no way to retrieve it. How stupid is that, dude? I don't know. This had many people panicking that this would cause a chain reaction and video games as a whole would see a universal price increase. That's gonna happen. That's just gonna happen. It is. There are people who are like, well, people paid $90 to play Donkey Kong Smash Through a Rock. Why? I mean, Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty is gonna be $90, 100%. Assassin's Creed, whatever, $90, 100%. Absurd rumors began to spread about Grand Theft Auto 6 might end up costing $150.
Worth it.
Yeah, some people are like, I'd pay it. And I know, and the thing too is people would pay it, you know, because people, they're going to jump through the loopholes of like, well, I'm going to be playing this for the next 15 years. It's $150 now for I had 15 years of pleasure, of pure pleasure.
That's $10 a year.
Yeah. Nintendo even revealed a console tech demo that would launch alongside the Switch 2, but announced that it wouldn't come free with the console, right? I mean, the demo's going to cost you $10. All right, long gone are the days of PlayStation giving you demos with a free pizza from Pizza Hut. That's no more, right?
Oh yeah, those are great.
It was the best, dude. I had this one from Pizza Hut. So sick. I got like a large pepperoni pizza when I was younger. My grandpa got it. We got dinner, and then it came with a demo that had Metal Gear Solid, Tomb Raider. It might have been 2, Kane, Soul of Kane or something, and then also the biggest one, Medieval.
Great game.
Oh, that shit went banana sandwich is what I did. That was unbelievable. Fans became infuriated with Nintendo for being seemingly much more greedy than they were with past releases, right? Our Japanese heroes are being a bit greedy. They're not like that. They're so kawaii. Why? Why are you doing this? You're not American. Stop! For example, PS5 got Astro's Playroom as a tech demo for free. For people living in the US, this frustration was amplified after President Donald Trump announced that tariffs would be placed on goods imported from most other countries, literally every other country on earth. Not most, basically all. It was later revealed by Nintendo that the $450 price tag would not change. Liars. The accessories, however, would all receive a price adjustment with potential for further changes in the future depending on the market conditions. And then there's gonna be a day where it's like, okay, the console has to come up $50.
Sorry.
And the controllers are also at $90 now too. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Lastly, the straw that broke the camel's back. Fans were extremely upset that the voice and video chat features will require an online subscription. Not Nintendo! But even with everyone complaining online, the Nintendo Switch 2 sold out in a matter of hours in the United States. And this is just the most recent outrage, right? I wouldn't even say it's not even the biggest. This is just over speculation of what's going to happen, and people are still like, we'll pay it. I don't care. But let's go back in time a bit and talk about older consoles, like when the Xbox 360 released. While the console itself was a pretty massive success, it had its fair share of problems at launch, namely hardware complications. I think they all rolled their eyes and they knew exactly what was coming. A giant red light was shining in their face and they're just like, oh. No. People were reporting crashes, glitches, overheating, and hard drive malfunctions, and alongside it came the infamous Red Ring of Death, which is so crazy. I just want to say the Red Ring of Death is like such a household. It's like literally like Jesus Christ, Red Ring of Death. It's like it's that because even the parents were affected by it because kids would be like, you had to pack it up and ship it back, and they'd send you a new one, and that motherfucker had the Red Ring of Death too. Brutal, bro. This was an error caused by the failure of hardware components, sometimes leading to startling errors like piercingly loud sounds coming out of your console.
When that motherfucking red thing come up and then the whole game freeze and motherfucker be like, man, what the is going on? We can't play. What's going on? Yo, doing that too? It was, oh my God.
And in most cases, the red ring of death would essentially brick your device and you could send it to Microsoft for repairs, but there was no guarantee that some error wouldn't happen again down the line. AKA, let me tell you, me personally, went through 4 of them. Not even joking, I sent 3 of them in, the 4th one finally stuck. But by the time the 4th one came in, they did the re-updated one to where it had like the touchpad power button, and those were great. And they were cheaper. I felt like a real dingus, let me tell you that. Other gamers started figuring out how to fix their consoles at home by employing absurd methods, like putting the motherboard in the oven or wrapping it in a towel while it overheated.
That was my brother. He started a business. I'll fix your Xbox 360, and then you just throw it in the oven.
So what, did it work? Why? What temperature was he throwing these bad boys in at? 450 on broil? Microsoft responded to the non-stop reports of hardware issues by extending the warranty and sending an empty box through UPS to customers so they could ship it back for repairs. A move that ended up costing Microsoft over $1 billion.
I remember going out to curb and like meeting the UPS guy and looking in the back of the UPS truck and seeing wall to wall, Xbox returns.
When they found out about it, the head guy was just like, basically talked to them like, we need to send this out now. And he's like, well, how much is it going to cost? He's like, it's going to cost like 1.5 billion.
We have Skyrim and GTA 5 coming. We'll financially recover. We'll be okay. It took 2 years and 3 different versions of the 360 until Microsoft was able to fix the problem permanently. Maybe not even permanently. I'm not going to put permanently on that, actually. They pretty much fixed it. The red ring of death was such a huge issue that an estimate of over 50% of the original run of Xbox 360s have died so far. Contrast that with its competitor, the PS3, having only a 10% death rate. Still kind of high.
Yeah, I was going to say the normal like percentage is 3 to 5.
3 to 5. So even the PS3 is just like, they're lucky. They're like, all the had was Resistance, like the Resistance franchise, and they're just like. Aside from the main console, there was also another great failure released by Microsoft around the same time, which we could just caveat because it was a 360 product. We're of course talking about Xbox's Kinect. Xbox just seems like such a worthless company, dude. Microsoft just drops the bag so much on so much shit.
They're dying. They have no exclusives anymore.
Well, that's why they just buy up like Bethesda. They buy up game studios and they're just like, so you can still release it over there, but you guys are cool with us, right? Then Todd Howard just like fucking, I don't know, jacks off into a cup and he's like, eat it. I don't know where that came from. I like to imagine that the executives, they either themselves or they're just like, we're gonna play a game of Limp Bizkit. Do you know what Limp Bizkit is? It's not just a fun band name. It's where like the guys in college, everyone off into a cracker first, and whoever finishes last has to eat it. That's what the Xbox execs and the Bethesda team do. We're thinking about doing Fallout New Vegas again. We're playing right then and there. Really? Did Oblivion Remaster do well for him?
Oh, huge.
Really?
There's a bunch of pictures going around with it's Giga Chad, Todd Howard.
Gamers have to be probably the worst fandom, right?
Most toxic.
Most toxic, I'll say that. Of like, they either love you as a god or immediately they're just like, kill that motherfucker. Because I thought people hated Todd. And also he's friend. Did you see that thing with him and Elon on that game panel at E3? So awkward. So uncomfortable, dude. Anyways, the Xbox Kinect was a motion sensing device that was released in 2010 to be used alongside the Xbox 360 for a unique gaming experience, which is one of the funniest. Like watching the Kinect release is like one of the funniest things. It's like you play as a mom, like talking to like an autistic child, and he's like, "Did you see that? How he responded? He could tell that Jennifer didn't, that she was not giving him respect." Whatever. It's like so scripted. You know what I mean? There's no way that's what the experience is going to be like. But my friends, for $150, you could use the Kinect to control games using only your body and voice. This was an attempt to keep the Xbox 360 interesting and relevant until 2015, according to Shane Kim, the former vice president of Microsoft. I like how they're just like, we just got to hold off. We just got to hold off until 2015. But at E3 in 2009, Microsoft unveiled something called Project Milo that demonstrates its capabilities. This tech demo, which was suspected to originally be its own game, essentially allowed you to interact with a 10-year-old AI child named Milo. It's one of the funniest things ever.
Hi, I'm Milo. How you doing?
Hi, Claire. You okay?
Actually, I'm a bit nervous.
You? Nervous? I don't believe it.
The character was built to respond to your words and gestures, constantly updating its personal dictionary in order to stimulate a lifelike and constantly evolving companionship. Raising a child is what Project Milo was. The developers in charge bit off way more than they could chew, making it increasingly difficult to convince Microsoft that the idea was worth prioritizing, foreshadowing the future of the Kinect device. I think once they saw this, they were just like, uh-oh. Millions of Kinects were purchased, but the games released at launch to utilize the controller were incredibly lackluster. I'm pretty sure there was like a riverboat ride where you literally just do this. You just lean and you just go down a river. More than that, the device was another example of Microsoft's shoddy hardware, often not responding to voice commands consistently. Hype for the Kinect died down incredibly fast, but Microsoft wasn't ready to get rid of it yet. When the Xbox One was showcased at E3 2013, it was announced that the Kinect would be bundled with it and required to be plugged in at all times for the console to operate. That's also some like shit where I think at the other end they were like selling people's information or whatever.
When the Xbox first came out, they realized that the thing is always, because I think it's LiDAR, it's always on. It's always like shooting out something. So people are just like, oh, you're going to spy on me in my home.
Yes, and they were. Microsoft was definitely doing that. This received a ton of backlash from users who had no interest in the Kinect, and on top of fear that the device was recording people for the purpose of targeted advertising, which it was. It definitely was. Microsoft backed off, removing the need to have the Kinect operating at all times. Still, the console bundle caused the price to be $100 more expensive than the competing PS4 at the time, which began affecting sales months after its release. And eventually, they gave up on forcing the Kinect onto consumers, and they sold the Xbox One without it, and later removed the dedicated parts for it. And by 2017, the Kinect was discontinued completely. Which I think the peak of the Kinect was JonTron did a video that you used the Kinect for like a Star Wars dancing game. Oh my god! That was hype. And then also I'm pretty sure the absolute pinnacle was they used it in Paranormal Activity 4. That's it. Maybe you could have made a good game, I don't know. Instead you just had people clowning on you the whole time. Even though the Kinect was a complete failure for playing video games, it found a new lease on life when it started to be used in 3D scanning, motion tracking, and even CT scanning in hospitals. I love that it's just like the laser is so powerful that they're just like, let's just I don't want to be in a riverboat, just give it to me. We can like actually help human beings. Now let's talk about a console that had a launch so horrific that it completely disappeared off the face of the earth. This is my favorite failed console of all time. Of course, I'm talking about the Ouya. One of the funniest Kickstarter campaigns of all time. One of the funniest CEOs to overhype it. My favorite clip is that one where it's I feel like I'm just saying a bunch of Crowcab clips. Shout out Crowcat. First off, like it was such a great YouTube channel, but I just love the part where she's just like, we have a touchpad on our controller. No one else does that. And the guy's like, the PS4 has it. And she's like, you're right.
Our controller has a touchpad. You're not going to find that somewhere else. And the reality is...
The new PlayStation 4 controller has a touchpad.
That's true.
It's awesome. The Ouya was a big deal back in 2013, as it was one of the more popular attempts at a console that wasn't just tied to the big three, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo.
Effectively, we're trying to disrupt an established industry. It takes a lot of guts and courage. Well, I wasn't a female, I'd say big balls.
It was a totally new endeavor, one that aimed to create a high-quality console for an affordable price while still giving a solid selection of titles from indie games to major publishers. It was also a big gimmick of theirs was, if you have the Ouya, you can try a game before you actually buy it to see if it's worth playing. Let me tell you, the storm clouds were already forming. The Kickstarter video boasted a console that uses Android open source technology that encouraged developers from all over to put their games on their platform without having to jump the same hurdles as you would going through an established company, right? So you could just put it on the console. You wouldn't have to like pitch the game or get funding from a game studio, blah, 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 all this stuff. You could just make it and put it right on. Because I think a lot of indie developers, you have to like make a deal and there's like exclusivity stuff. Like there's a bunch of stuff that actually gets tied into indie game development.
Yeah, for consoles too. Even I think Steam, they have a new program where you just pay $100, but before I think it was an exclusive, you still had to go through like a process.
Yeah, probably some giant process. Here, have someone from another YouTube video talk about it.
Package.
Within 1 month on Kickstarter, the Ouya was backed by 63,000 people and made around $8.6 million. But that wasn't all. They eventually got $15 million in venture capital funding as well. In total, they were looking at $25 million in total funding to make the Ouya, to make the dream, to make the Ouya happen. There's gotta be somebody with an Ouya tattoo out there. Can we, editor, put up a picture of an Ouya tattoo if you have it? Bro, brutal. Would you rather have like a full neck and shoulder, like late 90s tribal tattoo, or would you rather have just a tattoo of an Ouya? I think I'd do the Ouya.
Really?
I think it'd be really funny. It's just like Gone But Not Forgotten or some shit like that. Ouya was aiming to release later that year for only $99, which is crazy. Things would take a sharp turn during a keynote interview at South by Southwest, where the creator, Julia Ehrman, seemed to disappoint attendees by not giving detailed answers to a lot of the questions or just sounding ignorant about the current gaming space in general. I love this interview. I hate COVID, not for the fact that it shut down America. I don't give a fuck. And I thank God that our DoorDash people, right? But I want to say that it completely killed keynote speeches like this. Now everybody does the Apple thing where it's all pre-recorded. It's bullshit. Old E3 clips and like people having to actually go up on a stage and talk about it, that's all gone. So unfortunate. Because you get golden moments like this.
What's the recommended amount of dedicated RAM I should have to a server?
I miss you. I miss you. At one point, Urban asked how many consoles were sold, and she simply repeats, a lot. But she doesn't just say it like this, she does, a lot. And he does, you're not going to give a specific number? She does, a lot.
How many have you sold?
A lot.
Can you give me a range?
A lot.
Like, you're not going to tell me a number.
No, I'm not.
To go along with their mission to disrupt the gaming industry, they hosted an unofficial Ouya booth across the street from E3 to promote itself to anyone, which is just so cringe. You want to go to the Ouya booth? No. In response, E3 organizers began renting out spaces around the parking lot that Ouya would be operating in. They then parked loads of semi-trucks all over so they would block the public from seeing their booth, which is just so petty. It's so petty. It's like the thing has $30 million in funding, and it's like you are dealing with trillions of dollars inside. They're just like, yeah, cover them up. Hide the hornet's nest. Which actually Urban retaliated by renting spots in front of the trucks for more Ouya advertisements, and E3 even called the police to have their permits checked, which was unsuccessful. How petty, dude. Honestly, Urban kind of him around right there, didn't she? She big beaved him. She flashed her beeve and she said, mine's bigger. Gotta like it. No way we can put that in the video. Okay. When the consoles finally delivered to customers and tech reviewers, it was immediately met with an underwhelming reception. And underwhelming, it was horrible. I mean, like really bad. The games are terrible. I know people were shitting on the games because they were all just like basically flash games that you would find on the internet in like the 90s or something. But it was like all the controllers were terrible. The box is just, it was just all so cheap. By the time the Ouya had slowly lost hype and grinded to a halt, they had only sold 200,000 devices, and it was discontinued in 2015. And the services were all shut down in 2019 to anyone still using the product.
Bet there's one, the Ouya guy with the tattoo.
No! Ouya! What if could he just be like, can I just buy the server so I can play my Ouya forever? If they were like, we'll sell it to you, I'd be like, give it to him. Give the man the server. The next one we're going to talk about is less of a console and more of a service. Nevertheless, it was one of the biggest gaming flops in recent history, and I'm talking about Google Stadia. Have you heard of Google Stadia? I know you probably have. I'm asking the viewer, have you at home? The person like eating like ramen watching this, they're like, okay, well, good, because you're here. Google Stadia is a streaming platform that was announced in 2019, and it promised users that it would be able to play the newest AAA titles in 4K 60 FPS on any device that could run Google Chrome from a TV to a smartphone. That sounds made up. Even my ass, who's like not tech savvy at all, I'm like, that can't be done. Google was so bold as to say that the Stadia is more powerful than the PS4 and the Xbox One combined. With the financial backing of Google on top of their support of big developers and game studios like Bethesda, people truly thought that this would be a major step forward in gaming. The first wave of disappointment came with the announcement of its pricing structure. You had to pay $130 for their controller, as well as Chromecast to run the service. And the service itself was $10 a month, meaning you would pay full price for games on top of an indefinite subscription fee. So not only do you get to pay the price of the game, but every month you're also tacking on top, which $10, let me tell you, that adds up, dude.
Well, it's not even just like, oh, I want to cancel it. If you cancel it, you never play your game again.
Never. When the service launched, things started to get very bad very quickly. Not only was there a lack of good games, but there was loads of connectivity and latency issues. What? No. And in a Forbes article reviewing the launch product, Paul Tassi writes this: I am genuinely amazed with how shockingly bad Stadia has performed at my home over the course of many sessions. I write for Forbes. It's where the wealthy read. I'm a wealthy man, and I play Stadia. He even uploaded a video showing how often cutscenes stutter. Roll it! What's more is many of the features Google boasted were missing, like the true 4K gameplay or streaming directly to YouTube. They continued releasing third-party games, but the spark had been dying down for a while, to the point where Google shut down its service in 2023. Many employees learned of this through social media and not from Google, including people in the middle of developing games for the studio. So like they're like, yeah, it shut down. They're like, what? What? They're all programming in the back. That would suck, dude. Well, at least we have the Stadia. Luckily, everyone who purchased Stadia and its subscription fees were given refunds. Some people swore by the service, but were unable to play anymore, as the games could not be operated without connection to Google servers. Now let's go back and talk about an older and much more bizarre console launch, the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Some old heads definitely just perked up. The Virtual Boy was an early attempt in virtual reality gaming, one that ended up being a massive disaster for one of the biggest companies in the space. According to the original New York Times article, quote, to play a Virtual Boy game, a user must look directly into two miniature displays to view stereoscopic images created by arrays of red light emitting diodes, or LEDs. We're going to blind your f***ing child. We're going to make sure your child has a seizure. Virtual Boy gaming at its peak, thank you. There were blaring criticisms to be made as soon as it was released. While Nintendo games were often focused on group play, the Virtual Boy felt antisocial. Little did they know the future was going to be much more bleak, as players would literally shove their faces into a machine to play on their own. The games themselves didn't really utilize the 3D effect and more so just became a novelty that required a cumbersome piece of hardware. The red LEDs used were vital in order to make a console affordable, but it was an incredibly unappealing visual style to many gamers. People reported that they were getting motion sick from using the system, and furthermore, there was a legitimate fear that children under 7 would develop a lazy eye if the two screens were not aligned properly. That's awesome. And a 1995 issue of Game Pro magazine claimed it might potentially cause permanent brain damage to play the Virtual Boy. The device cost $180 and was quickly lowered to $160 and then down to $99 after its release in response to poor sales. Only 770,000 were sold, and the negative response pushed Nintendo to discontinue the product after 6 months. But we could talk about a unique type of console failure. It's normal to see celebrities push their brand by selling products, like many celebrities do with alcohol nowadays. I feel like every celebrity has an alcohol nowadays. A lot of gin, too much gin, some tequila, mostly tequila and gin, that's the big thing. But how about a celebrity that tried to sell a gaming console? Like my boy Soulja Boy. He tried doing Soldier Game. How did he not call it the Soulja Boy? What the f? It's just called Soulja Game? Jesus. In 2018, the known rapper Soulja Boy decided to release a line of gaming consoles, one handheld for $99 and one for television that sold for $149. As he promoted the product for its upcoming release, he took to Twitter to announce that he had plans to start an esports team and further develop his tech company. Soulja Boy, more like Soulja Man with some of these entrepreneurial ideas. When the console was released, people discovered that it was a cheap piece of hardware loaded up with an emulator and shit ton of popular games, including tons from various Nintendo consoles. He just stole a bunch of shit, basically.
He basically bought something off AliExpress, I think.
Yes, he literally, it was like a template. The hardware was all made in China and was an insane markup. Pretty much he just saw this thing, it's like, oh, this is like a gimmick he told. Like you see a lot of these gimmicks still today of like, oh, like this has every Nintendo game in it, whatever, which it has to be illegal, right? It didn't take long for Soulja Boy to get contacted by Nintendo, leading to all the consoles and handhelds being removed from his online store. For those who thought his career in gaming was over, in 2021, the rapper turned to announce that the Soldier Game console, also known as the TRDR Pocket, is in development on his official Twitter account. And he said this: building a new console from scratch. All new design, all new games, all new deals. Let's make history. And on a podcast in 2023, he revealed that they've partnered up with Walmart to sell the handheld in all their stores. This one includes the use of AI, apparently. It seems to still be a rebranded Chinese gaming device, and reviewers were disappointed to discover that it was yet again an overpriced, overly designed emulator device. And since 2023, the rapper has not made any updates about the handheld or further gaming venture. Rip Soulja Boy. It's fascinating to see how many promising game ventures ended up crashing and burning on day one. On literally day one. Consoles like the Ouya, God bless you, or Google Stadia sound great on paper, but are doomed to fail without perfect implementations. And it just leads you to believe that, guess what? No matter what gaming companies do, if it's one of the big three, you're probably going to fork over money because we have no control as human beings, especially if you're a Nintendo fan. But that's for another day. Thank you so much for watching this video. We appreciate you. And hey, happy gaming, guys. And girls, and they, thems. Happy gaming, everybody. We appreciate you. Bye-bye. While they claimed that they would start developing their own exclusive... The
game is fun. The game is a battle. If it's not fun, why bother? If it's not a battle, where's the fun?